One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today.
Good afternoon. All right, I'm going to try to make this one quick because I got to run across town to my mom's house. She is selling some furniture out of her house, and I have to meet some folks over there. But I'm going to try to make this quick because I only got about 15 minutes. This is a subject that, if I'm being honest, it could take hours. It could take hours and hours to have this conversation, if I'm being honest. And I'm going to try to do it in like 15 minutes. But there is, now, if you all haven't noticed, because I've noticed that there is a consensus in the Black community amongst Black women that Black women suck at choosing men. They suck. I have said this as long as I can remember, and I've taken heat for this, but they suck. They really suck at choosing Black men. And I just had a conversation, a very brief conversation with my own daughter yesterday. And it was over this video about, you know, how embarrassing it is for a woman to have a boyfriend. That, oh, it's so embarrassing when a woman has a boyfriend. And the only reason why that video was made is because women are so bitter. Women are so jaded. Women are so, like, they've been done, you know, as in their words, done wrong by so many men over and over and over. And instead of taking just a little bit of accountability, y'all, even if they took 20% of the accountability, they would be better off than they are now. If they just looked at themselves, if they looked at the type of men that they're choosing. But anyway, so she's saying, yeah, that's true. It's so gross. It's so embarrassing when girls tell me they have a boyfriend. Oh my gosh. And men are this and men are that. I said, sweetheart, we've already had this conversation. I've had this conversation so many times with my daughter. I said, you have picked 3 horrible men. I said, and, you know, I'm going to bring some accountability to this conversation because I believe that's my job as your mother. I said, you have picked 3 horrible men and you have been horrible in those relationships. So we're not even going to act like you haven't acted up. You have acted up in those relationships with those 3 horrible men. So clearly you bring out the worst in a man. Like, I kept it real. I said, you bring something about you brings out the absolute worst in a man. But you have got to take responsibility for the type of men you're choosing. And even my mother tried to talk with her. My mother tried to talk with her because she was dating this boy, the most recent boy, and then she found out that he knew her ex and that him and the ex had kind of set her up and all this other stuff. And she's still talking to him. I said, no, baby, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. Have you heard of the expression, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You ever heard of that expression? Now you done heard it. If you keep going back time and time again to the same type of dude, to the same exact dude, it's on you. No one has true empathy for your situation. Lord. And then I told her, I said, so it ain't enough that you have me literally teaching you everything you need to know about dating, everything you need to know about men, everything You need to know about marriage and love and relationships. I share all of that. I wrote books on it for you. I wrote you and my other daughter a book. I wrote you an entire book. And you refuse to sit down and read it. You refuse to listen. You refuse to apply the knowledge, the 57 years of wisdom that I have. So yeah, you're going to learn a lot of life's lessons the hard way because you just don't want to listen. You don't. And look, she has girlfriends that listen to me and she don't listen to me. So again, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. You have the cheat code right under your nose, but you don't want to listen. So I let her bump her head. Y'all. A lot of people will get on me. Well, do something, say something, help her. No, she gonna have to bump her head. She gonna have to find out the hard way because she doesn't want to listen. She wants to keep doing the same dumb stuff and getting the same results. I said, yeah, I just don't know what to tell you. Yeah, she said sometimes our own children won't listen to us. And you know what? I've come to terms with it. I have. I really have. I've come to terms with it. But the knowledge is there every day, all day. I'm happy to share my 57 years of wisdom. And remember, it's not a conjecture. It's not a theory. It's called lived experience. It's called my life. And when I tell her, look at my life, look at how calm, look at the level of success I have, look at the fact that for the most part, I'm not worried about what's happening out in the world because I've set my life up in such a way so that I'll be okay. Just look at my life. Look at the level of success that I have had. That's it. Okay. So in my mind, yeah, you want to look at someone as a good example. If that person is a good example, if that person is getting good results, yes, you want to listen to them. But like I said, I can't say nothing, and that it is what it is. You're going to learn the hard way. So here is the truth of the matter. A lot of black women, so as they get older, there's a lack of humility. And don't get me wrong, we were all young once and young and dumb. Okay, we were young and dumb once. And pride was our middle name, ego. We were so steeped in our ego and so steeped in pride. And we didn't know any better. We honestly just didn't even know any better. And then, as a person grows older, and even though they bump their head, even though they make mistakes, they don't let that bring them a sense of humility. They get more and more prideful. They double down on their foolishness. Instead of having a measure of humility and maybe seeking out people that have the life you want and trying to figure out how they got it, they double down on the ego and the pride. But you have a subset of women like that where it's the lack of humility. And those women are going to keep getting bad results. They're going to keep getting really bad results in relationships. Those women won't get married, won't have any children. They just, it is what it is. I keep telling people it's a certain percentage of people that we just going to lose. We're going to lose a certain percentage of people out here where they're not going to get what they want. They're not going to have the life that they want. And only when they're 50, 60, 70 will it dawn on them. That's when it'll hit them like, wait a minute. Oh my God. Like, I think I done messed up. We're going to lose a percentage of those people. But here's the truth of the matter. There are a lot of black women that because they didn't have a father, and remember, I've spoken about this so much, that, my experience with men is because I had a father. I had his brothers. I had my mother's brothers. I had my male cousins. I had my brothers. I had my grandfathers. I had so many men in my life. And, all teaching me the game in one way or another, right? All teaching me the game, all protecting me and showing me my worth and value. But a lot of black women don't have that. And I'm coming to that conclusion, like, wow, how I was raised by black men was actually pretty unique. It was very unique. I thought that's how everybody was raised. I really did. I was like, yeah, everybody got a daddy. Everybody got a grandpa. Everybody got some uncles. Everybody got some male cousins. And like I told y'all, in my world, those men all existed to protect me, to provide for me, to make sure I was good. But now it's like, wow, I think my experience was actually the unique experience. My experience was the outlier experience. I think the majority of women did not have that experience. So they were not taught. I think a lot of black women just were not taught. And they were not taught by males. That's the difference. So I had women teaching me. I had hypergamous feminine women teaching me the game. And then I had males. I had men teaching me the game from the male perspective. So I had it on both sides. I had, my mom telling me what to do and not to do. My grandmother, my aunts, especially my Aunt Sylvia. She was quick to teach you. She was quick to teach you the game. And then I had men in my family teaching me from the male perspective. This is what men are really like. This is what time they're on. This is what they want from you. Yeah, I got those lessons early on. But I'm now starting to see a lot of women never got those messages. They never got taught. And look, their bitter mothers taught them to make money. Their bitter mothers taught them, and bitter grandmothers taught them to have their own money and make money and get educated. But they never taught them about men and about marriage and about healthy partnership and about how to date, how to vet a man. No. And this is what's so crazy about that. Like I keep telling y'all, it's in your DNA for a woman to want a man, and it's in a man's DNA to want a woman. So what's so weird about that weird programming that a lot of black mothers and black mothers gave their daughters is they I don't know why, they felt like, oh, that's going to override. Oh, the dogs are out. Like somehow that's going to override their desire for a man. Oh, if they get educated, if they make money, it's almost like they didn't even consider that as being a part of it. Like, oh, they'll be fine. They'll be just fine with their career and their degree and their money. No. Inside of every woman is a space for a man. That is a deep biological, and I believe it's a part of our nature desire to want to be with a man, to want to be contained by a healthy man, to want to be protected and provided for, all the things, all the wonderful things that men bring. That's in a woman. So you have to speak to that. You have to speak to that. And I remember my dad saying, yeah, because look, my mom thought I was messing around at 16. I was a virgin. I wasn't having sex. I hadn't even kissed a boy. I hadn't even kissed a boy at 16, and I was definitely a virgin. But my mom's, husband at the time thought I was messing around. I wasn't. And then when I came to live with my dad, he thought I had messed around. I hadn't. And he was like, but it's only a matter of time. Like my daddy was like, so we're going to go to Planned Parenthood. We're going to get you on some birth control. I said, Dad, I'm not doing that. It's only a matter of time. Like even he knew the nature of a woman and a man. He's like, it's just a matter of time. So we need to make sure that you're protected against pregnancy. He talked to me about condoms. He gave me the game. He taught me how to choose a good man. He gave me the game and he taught me how to choose good men. He instilled in me that no man should ever be yelling or screaming at me. No man should ever be calling me out of my name. No man should ever be putting his hands on me. Right? He taught me some basic things. Like if these things happen, you're done. You're done, Anita. And I had a boyfriend that we got into a fight. This was a dude that I was living with. Don't live with no dude. And my daddy told me not to do it, but I'm over 18. He can't tell me nothing. I think I was 20 or 21. He can't tell me nothing, but I went against his wishes and lived with this dude. We got into a fight and the dude slapped me. And so I called my ex-boyfriend. I also called my dad, crying, telling him what happened. My dad expeditiously came over to the apartment with his gun tucked in the back of his pants and was like, get your ish, we out of here. and commenced to pistol whipping this dude. Like, we out of here. You done. So there was no, well, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. No, no, no. He was like, you're done. Like, you're done. This dude you're done. There ain't no coming back from this. You're done. Right? But a lot of women never had that. You never had a man show up in that way for you at all. Like, he was just like, we good. Like, you're done. There ain't no talking about it. And I remember I moved in with my dad, and the ex was trying to call me at my dad's, or he was trying to, show up and say, and he was like, you're done with him. We ain't going back and forth. Like, that kind of masculine power. Like, no, it ain't no talking about nothing. And I was like, okay then. And that was that. But a lot of women never experienced that. A lot of women never experienced that level of protection, that level of, just direction and discipline, and saying, no, do not ever let a man put his hands on you and go back. That's a no. That's a deal breaker. But it was so many instances in my life where my dad taught me lessons, just these lessons when you're dealing with men. There's certain things, Anita, you just ain't gonna accept. He said, don't accept it and don't tolerate it. I remember it like it was yesterday. So I think a lot of Black women just didn't have a good, solid education when it comes to choosing a man. I think the mothers don't know how to do it. And if they didn't have a father in their life, who gonna teach them? And we all know the community has completely broken down. They're not any more aunties. They're not any more church mothers and church ladies. I mean, the community has completely broken down. No one taught them. But here's the truth of the matter. Number one, my platform exists for you, young lady. So I'm going to teach you. It's my job now to teach you. And number two, you have to make a commitment to learn. Okay? That's your part in this. You have to make a commitment to learn from people who actually know. You have to make that commitment. You can't be so prideful and so hard-headed and so bullheaded like my daughter. That, oh, you ain't listening, and oh, you're going to do your own thing, and oh, you're going to keep doing the same thing and getting the same bad result. No, you have to listen. Now that you're grown, is your time to figure some things out. You have to find those lessons wherever you can get them. And there are so many wonderful feminine teachers out here. There are wonderful people who are teaching you the game. There are male channels, female channels of people who got sense in their head and they're willing to teach you the game. You just have to listen. That's it. That's all I got. But I think most Black women were not taught how to choose a good man. And then if their mom didn't choose a good man, or their grandmother didn't choose a good man, their aunties didn't choose a good man, it's like a generational curse of choosing these ridiculous, ignorant men. So there are a lot of great men out here, but a lot of women will never know that. You will never know true, genuine love from a good man. You will never know true provision and protection from a good man. You will never know. Because you will keep going to the same no good dudes, to the dudes that you drive in your car, or you got to drive on the date. I mean, it's so basic. It's like basic stuff that y'all do not know. And yet these are the same women talking about they don't do coffee dates. That's what's so wild. I don't do coffee dates, but you'll pick up a dude from his house and go out on a date. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I talked the other day about dudes coming out of prison. I hate to hurt your little heart, but like I said, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that. They're just certain type of men that you should not deal with. You should not deal with. Men with a whole bunch of kids by a whole bunch of different women. I told my daughter just the other day when we were pulling in the Sam's Club, and I know I'm going to take heat for this, but she was gawking over this dude who had braids. No. No. Can I be honest? A man with braids A man with cornrows, a man with them long singular braids. No. You a grown A man and you got braids? No. No. So however you feel about that is how you feel about it. They got a certain uniform look that I'd say, no, not him. Well, dang, Ma, you judging people based on how they look. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much he got on the F-boy uniform. And that's how I felt about that guy in Sam's Club. He had on the F-boy uniform. The braided hair, the beard, the jeans and Timbs, the white wife beater, then he had a shirt over that, the chain. I mean, he had on the F-boy uniform. I was like, he's an F-boy. That's nobody's, that is no one's father. He might be a baby daddy, but look at this dude. Would this dude make a good father? Like, that's what black women are not willing to ask themselves. Because either, oh, I'm not ready to have kids, or what does that matter? Or that. No. When I'm looking at a man, I am picturing him as the father of my children. And if that don't fit, if I don't like the way that picture looks, then I don't choose him. I am picturing him with us taking our children to church on Mother's Day or on Father's Day. And if you can't picture that, don't mess with him. Simple as that. Okay? Joe Williams Bork says, if you were dating someone and found out it's going to be their first time, what would you do? First time making love? You should be married. Like, what do you mean? I would assume that person would be your wife. Remember, technically dating is for finding your person. In my world, that's the only thing it's used for. So that should be your wife. Right? And y'all keep saying how y'all want virgins, but y'all want sex too. So you want virgins, you want a woman with a low body count, you want virgins, but you don't want to get married and make that woman your wife. Like, what? Anyway, I ain't even going there. He said after Kenny _ since 1980 says after a certain age, you have to cut them off. You really do. And can I be honest? That age should be 21. Any man over the age of 21 that still has his hair braided is a no. And how you feel about it is how you feel about it. It's part of the F-boy uniform. No. Any man with a big old beard and no. Now, if your beard is tapered down, if your beard is, tapered down, to me, that's a grown man beard. But these big old beards, no. Taper that beard down, bruh. Taper that beard down on your face. And then we can talk. Taper that mustache and that goatee and that beard down. Cut that hair. And then we can talk. You might be onto something. But dudes walking around with the F-boy uniform? Heck no. No, this dude looked like an F-boy. Can you imagine this dude and you going to church on Sunday with your children? Well, nah. Okay then. So, no. Stop it. But I think a lot of our women have not been taught. And a lot of our women are too prideful. They're too prideful to learn. They're too full of their ego and too prideful to actually sit down and learn how to vet good men. And like I said, go on my YouTube channel. How many videos do I have over there? I don't even know. It's hundreds. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on dating and relationships and how to choose a good man. You have no excuse. You can get coaching. You can get counseling. Hundreds and hundreds of videos on how to choose a good man. So it's y'all. It's y'all at this point. If you're not trying to learn and grow and say, you know what, especially after you mess up the first time, right? I remember when my relationship went south with my first boyfriend ever, I was like, okay, I have got to go back to my father's teachings. I have got to talk to my father again. I started talking to my cousins at that point because my cousins and I are all around the same age. We're in our early 20s. And I really started listening to my cousins, my brothers. I was like, okay, I have got to learn this game. And especially after that incident with the boyfriend and the slap, I said, yeah, I got to figure this game out. But after that, I never had another man put his hands on me. Because again, I figured out the game. I figured out how to choose a good, decent man. You know, it's rare that I've been cheated on. Because again, I look for things that I believe shows the character of a good man. He said, big old beard. Yeah, no. It's like the earring, the big gaudy earring, the braids, you know, the wife beater, the chain, the Timbs and jeans. It's just a uniform. I hate it. It's a look that they have that I'm like, not him. Not him. But oh, he's sexy. Oh, this, oh, that. So, all right, y'all, I gotta go. Have a great day. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I may go dark about a week because I'm finishing up this book and I gotta get it to the formatter and the person who's going to edit it and they're gonna check it for spelling errors and all that. So I may go dark for about a week and then I'll be back. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, stay open to love.